the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you.
Welcome to Anchor TV from the Hub in downtown Cartersville. I'm your host, Bobby Lawrence. Aren't you supposed to be doing this?
Oh, yeah. My bad. And this is Ronald May, correspondent in the street for Anchor TV.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm playing Kneesy, Earsy, Nosy.
Man, that's crazy. Anybody can do that. Aren't you supposed to be telling the story?
Oh, yeah. Oh, the women in the Bible story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Easy, Earsy, Nosy. All right. I was telling last week about Esther. Now we're going to be talking about Deborah. She's from the book of Judges in the Bible. All right, so Deborah was a prophetess. She was a judge, a female judge, and she didn't inherit this. She was really in charge, and she did a great job, okay? So what happens is this guy named Sisera, he's this general. He's this guy, and he's coming in to attack them. And so he's got chariots and horses and all kinds of stuff, and they're going to wipe them out. So Deborah says, "Look, we're going to need Barak, who's a general. We need you." She summons Barak. So Barak comes in there, and she said, "Look, Barak, I'm going to need you to go out there and fight this guy. We're going to wipe him out." But Barak is a chicken. He's like, "Look, you know, I'm not going to do it unless you go do it with me." So she says, "All right, I'll go do it with you, but get this. They're going to write songs about me and another woman."
Wait, man, look. Let's just cut to Larry Cochran's interview, okay?
All right. I'll be back with more of Deborah.
My family and my childhood was very, I would say, traumatic. My dad would beat up on my mom, and, you know, he was addicted to drugs. And, you know, think about me being in the 3rd grade, my brother in the 1st grade, and my dad beating up on my mom, and after he beating up on my mom, she wait for him to pass out or go somewhere else after he done took all the money that she got, get us up in the middle of the night, take us on the other side of the town, and we walking because my dad done beat on my mom. And I said, out of all of everything I did see, the thing that I did see that was pushing my decisions and pushing and giving me the motivation at that time was when I was in the 1st grade. I seen my dad, he was working for one of the wealthiest men in the city, if not the wealthiest. And he would come by in his cars. I would go up to their house sometime and be like, man, their garage is bigger than our whole duplex. And I would see my dad come up in these big fancy cars and stuff. And the only people that I seen driving big fancy cars like that was drug dealers. At that time in my life, I said, you know what? I want to be a drug dealer. I want to sell drugs when I get older. Because that was the only thing I seen that was success around me. But that right there was a driving force in my life. And in the 5th grade, although I made a decision, said, man, you know what? I want some money. I'm tired of being in this situation. In the 5th grade, I made a decision, said, you know what? This guy came up to me and he asked me, hey, I heard you want to sell. He gave me some marijuana, and I started selling marijuana in the 5th grade. I sold out of it that day. He gave me some more the next morning. And I started selling marijuana in the 5th grade, and through selling drugs from the 5th grade all the way to the 9th grade, you know, I started out selling marijuana, then switched over when we moved to North Rome, started selling crack cocaine. My life was horrible. It was going nowhere real fast. And all this happened before I was 16 years old. Because at 16 was when I gave my life to Jesus Christ. The pain that I felt coming up as a youngster, you can only imagine. I mean, it almost brings tears to my eyes right now. I've seen my mom and my dad try to commit suicide. I seen my mom and my dad locked up in a mental institution. Both of them. To see that pain, to feel that pain right there, something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Think about my dad telling me, boy, I shouldn't have named you Larry. I shouldn't have named you after me because you too soft. So if somebody telling you, you too soft, what's that going to make you? You're going to try to be hard, right? So my dad telling me I shouldn't have named you after me. You too soft. So that made me become hard. It made me become real hard, real cold-hearted on the inside. It made me build up a defense on the inside to where I can't even trust nobody. Because my dad, he destroyed the trust that I had. He destroyed the emotion that I had. He used to tell me different stories and stuff about how you get connected to certain things and then you just got to cut it off. Now, you know, growing up with that, man, it's easy. It's easy to adapt to what's being pushed in front of you. And so dealing with that pain, dealing with that hurt, dealing with the struggle, I mean, it's gut-wrenching. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And one of the things that I always comes to my mind, and my dad used to always tell me, and I can remember this when I was like in 3rd grade. He said, boy, you're the most cold-hearted person I have ever met. You're the most cold-hearted person I've ever met. Now, think about it now. My dad is like 30-something years old when I'm in 3rd grade. Now, you done met a lot of people. You done been to Vietnam. You mean to tell me the child that you birthed is the most cold-hearted person that you have ever met? And yes, I was cold-hearted. I didn't care about nobody or no one. I used to hate white people. I hated my own family. I hated my own grandparents. I remember when I was in 7th grade, my granddaddy died. When he was getting rushed to the hospital, my dad was walking down the street telling me, hey, look, I'm getting ready to go to the hospital. Your granddaddy, they just rushed your granddaddy to the hospital. I'm sitting there, I didn't care about nothing. I'm thinking, if he died, he died. I didn't care. High out of my mind. 7th grade. High out of my mind. And I thought it was acceptable. I thought it was acceptable to be racist. I'm thinking it's acceptable to be to not like white people, because the thing that I felt, the thing that I was being taught, the thing that was being pushed on me was the white man got his foot on your neck. But really, he don't. It's ignorance. And that pain, that hurt that I felt, mixed with all types of different trauma that I seen growing up, it's either you adapt or you die. The hurt and the emotion that I felt was, like I said, gut-wrenching. I mean, it was like nobody wanted me. It's like, even though I had people that I went to church every Sunday, you know, I still didn't feel the love that I needed to feel, because rejection had set up in my heart. Feeling like I wasn't good enough. And when you see your parents try to take their own life, it makes you want to take your own life. Like, life is not worth living. You don't want me. You don't want to be around me. Life ain't worth living. Let me take the easy way out. Of course, you don't know the finality of suicide. You don't know the end result. That, hey, look, once you do this, you're never coming back. And that's something I had to battle, still having to battle it. Still having to battle it. But I'm going to overcome it. The hurt deep down inside was to the place to where it made me feel unwanted. The hurt deep down inside made me want to lash out. it made me want to get some attention from somewhere. I mean, because when you got a little boy that's hearing all of this negativity and it keeps coming to him from his father, it makes you want to rise up and stand up to the occasion. I'm 8 years old, and my dad is telling me I need to go see the light. After being molested in pre-K by an older woman, I'm 8 years old, and my dad is telling me I need to go be with a woman. So you know what that makes me do? Okay. Like, this is something, man, that you don't really know, you really don't know where to go. You're lost. You're lost. You don't know who to turn to. You don't know who to trust. Because everything in you, every time you come to something, some hurt or some trauma, here's something, it's no one to go talk to. Nobody to go talk to. Never had anybody to talk to. Never had anybody who could really understand what I had been through. I mean, who's going around telling somebody, yeah, man, I was molested by my babysitter? Who's going around saying that? Who wants to share that with the world? No one wants to share that with the world. And the kids are being thrown into trauma every day, and they're too young to process it. I'm too young to process stuff now, and I'm 38. Certain stuff I don't even need to be processing. Lowest point I ever experienced in my life, because at that particular time, I'm thinking, this is my mindset. I'm thinking, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to college, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be something bigger than what I was used to seeing. Because my mom worked at Checkers. My dad, he worked sometime, and then sometime he wouldn't work. And so while I was in high school, I had dreams and aspirations of getting out of the projects with the roaches and the rats, you know. And so my biggest ambition and biggest inspiration was, hey, I got to get out of here. I got to go to college. And so the day that I go down to meet with my counselor, I go down there and I hear my name called for me to go to my appointment. So I'm walking down the hall, I'm yippity-yap. Like, man, she's finna tell me I can be a doctor. She can tell me, man, I can go to school to be a lawyer. She gonna tell me I can go to school to be some CEO of a firm or whatever. I get down there and I'm just sitting there and my heart is just beating, boom, boom. So while she called me back, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like, man, here we go. This right here. This is about to be amazing. I can't even wait. I mean, my palms are sweating. I think I was sweating on my head and everywhere. I'm talking about, man, I'm super excited. She says, okay, Mr. Cothran, I got a list of things right here that you can do based upon the SAT scores and based upon the grades that you have made in high school. And I said, okay, cool. Come on, I'm ready. She said, first of all, you can be a bus driver. And I was like, okay, what else? You could be a dishwasher at a restaurant. Huh? What do you mean? I'm sitting there and she started saying other stuff and I was like, man, this is not what I envisioned. This is not what I was thinking about. Like, nothing is wrong with being a bus driver. Nothing is wrong with working at a restaurant, but that's not what I had envisioned for my life. And I'm sitting there and my confidence just went from here all the way down to the floor. And I ain't even hear nothing else she said. Because I'm so deep down in the pit. I'm talking about I was so low a mosquito wouldn't bite me. Because I did not plan on driving a bus. I did not plan on being a cook at a restaurant or a dishwasher. I seen my mama do that. And she wasn't making no money. It was so painful for me to pick up that phone. I wanted to start crying. I picked up the phone. I called my mentors. It was Eric and Madia Mosley. She said, Larry, what's going on? And I said, my counselor just told me I can be a bus driver. She just told me I could be a dishwasher. And I'm trying to figure out how, like, this is not what I had envisioned for my life. I know I wanted to be more than just a bus driver. I know I wanted to be more than a dishwasher. She said, I don't care what the counselor said. What do you believe? And so I was like, man, you know, I don't even want to hear that right there. Like, and so, because she used to always tell me, Larry, you're a man of favor. But at that time, I really didn't believe it. She told me, you're a man of favor. I don't care what no one says about you. I don't care what they say to you. And you got to believe it. I didn't too much want to believe it because the situation I was in, I was like, look, you're not living in the projects with me. You're not around this environment that I'm in right now. And you keep saying you're a man of favor. Same thing my cousin used to say to me all the time. Man, you so blessed. How am I blessed? I wish people quit telling me that. Because I'm living in the projects and you got your own place. With her telling me that, I had to repeat it after her. So she was like, Larry, I got to hear it. And I'm thinking, I'm a man of favor. No, you didn't say it like you believe it. Hey, I'm a man of favor. And it took me a few days to get over it. So when I finally got over it, you know, I had put in some applications to some colleges or whatever. Denied. You know, because after you start getting like rejection and rejection after rejection, it's like, man, like, am I really meant to do this? A lot of times we think that the thing that, just because something is hard, we think it's not from God. So a few days later, I checked the mailbox and I see it's a letter in there from Alabama State. And I'm like, uh-oh, I'm a man of favor. I got to believe that. So no matter when I open up this letter, if they deny me or if they approve me, I have to be settled on the fact that I'm a man of favor. I opened up the letter. All I read was, you're accepted. I ran all the way to my mama's job and let her see that letter. Once I get to college, there's going to be some more opportunities that open up for me. It's one thing being accepted to college, but it's another thing, you forgot you got to pay for college. And that's where another hiccup came in at. At this time, I had gave my life to Jesus, and so with me giving my life to Jesus, you know, even though I didn't have no money, I had favor and I had opportunities. I need to go ask this dude for these books he got. I went down there and asked the dude for the books. He was like, yeah, man, if you want to borrow the books, man, here go the books. So I had every book that I needed for the school year. Every book. And I ain't had to pay for no books because he had every book that I needed. You know, I walked on to the drama department. You know, we had to do auditions and stuff. And I got a scholarship for that. You know, I didn't know I could do that. I was like, wait a minute now. They just said that was that. I said, man, I guess I go over here and, you know, see if I can go in the drama department, see if I can get some extra money or whatever. Guess what? Went over there and got a scholarship. This is the same thing for the gospel choir too. Went over there and got a scholarship. That next year, I was playing drums at State University of West Georgia. But I didn't go there. Because I'm thinking, like, yeah, I'm finna transfer to West Georgia. Didn't get a chance to transfer because they were like, yeah, your grades ain't good enough from the previous semester. And I'm like, man. So I had to end up going to Floyd College, which is now Georgia Highlands. And so I was sitting there and I had a dream one night that I was supposed to be at this certain school, which was Jacksonville. I said, man, I don't want to go to no Jacksonville. Just because I didn't like the school, I figured it wasn't big enough. That really changes you. It really changes the fiber of your being and the fabric of who you are. Jacksonville State is the school that did that for me. That was the moment in time that really changed some stuff for me. Because when I was at Jacksonville State, I started a Bible study. And me, I'm the type of person, I'm like, man, God like to show off what he like to do, you know. And so I started this Bible study with me and my roommate. And so he's like, hey, man, I said, look, we just going to read over some scriptures and stuff like that right there. I said, but while we're reading over some scriptures, let's just open up the door. You know, that's all we're going to just open up the door. We opened up the door, and we had a couple people that walked by. What y'all doing, man? Just sitting over here having a little Bible study. And they just come on in. Started with 2 people. The next week, came in there. It was a few more people. Ended up with like 10, I guess. So week 3, we get down there, and while we're down there at week 3, in my room had like 20 people in it. I turn around and I see a vision of people standing outside of my dorm room next week. People all in my room and stuff. And I'm like, man. So while I'm teaching, it's people that's standing outside the door, just listening to me teach. And I'm like, what in the world? And it's like 30 people all together. So I couldn't fit nobody else in the room, so the RA, the dorm resident assistant, came to me and said, hey, look, we got a bigger room. If you want to check this out, you can go over there. I said, cool. We went over there, and as soon as I walked in the room, the Lord gave me a vision of people standing outside. And guess what? The second week, it's people standing outside the door. People that's in fraternities and sororities standing outside of the door. The RA came to me again. She said, Larry, this is growing. We're going to put y'all into the lobby. I walk down there and get another vision. That is people just standing up. Guess what happened? The lobby gets full. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? So then we couldn't have nobody else in the lobby because it was fire code. So they moved us to the bottom of a dorm in a basement. This was great. They moved us to the bottom of a dorm in a basement, and we was running like 70 people a week. It turned into an organization on campus. It was the All About Jesus organization. So it turned into an organization on campus. When I first seen a pornographic magazine, it was on a school bus. What happened? I thought when I get saved, everything's supposed to stop. Then you get married, and it's like, okay, I know it's gonna stop now, and it don't stop. The shame of it all because I'm saved now. Now I'm ministering now, and I'm a minister, and I'm still dealing with it. And shame kept my mouth closed. It's been taken. It takes the time. It takes the energy. It takes the relationships. It's a void. By me confessing what I deal with and sharing with somebody, guess what? Now I'm able to be free. A lot of people can't be free because shame has them so bound that they don't want to talk to nobody. Or they can't talk to nobody that they trust because they know they're going to run and tell everybody. Because it's certain people, man, when I got free from this, I knew one of the first things I had to do. And nobody told me this, but I just knew one of the first things I had to do. I had to go share with somebody that I've been free from the thing that done held me bound for over 20 years. I went to church every Sunday. I didn't miss a Sunday at church till I went to college. Every Sunday. So all the stuff that you done heard me talk about, all the trauma and stuff that I went through, I was going to church every Sunday. Fast forward from 2001 to 2017, I owned a trucking company and I owned a restaurant.
Man, that was wonderful. I love stories like Larry.
Yeah, that was really good.
What are you doing?
It's called Finger Wiggle. It's a game.
Man, anybody can do that.
Try it.
Tell your story, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, yeah. Where was I? All right, Deborah said they're going to make songs about me and another woman. All right, so now we're going to bring in the other woman. But first, we're going to tell the story. So Barack, who was the chicken who wouldn't go without Deborah to war, Barack and Deborah, they go fight this guy. And they kill everybody. But Caesarea, the leader, the general guy, he runs. He gets away. And he goes and he hides in this tent. He runs into this girl. Her name is Jael. Jael. He runs into Jael. And he goes, I don't know what I'm going to do. Barack and Deborah, they're going to kill me. She goes, look, man, everything's cool. Come on in my tent, and we're going to hide you here. So he's like, that's cool. So he comes in the tent. Caesarea comes in the tent, and Jael's there. So he's like, man, this is really making me nervous. She said, well, why don't you take a nap? Lay down on the bed. So he lays down on the bed, and she goes, let me hide you with this cover so no one will see you. So she hides him with the cover, and she grabs a spike, a tent spike, and just hammers it into his head, into the ground, killing him. Are you still trying to do that?
Man, have you got something better, man? Have you got anything?
We'll get something.
We'll cut to something. Man, you talked me into hiring him.
Sorry.
I used to be racist. I hated white people. I hated Mexicans. I couldn't stand them just because the way I was raised. Because I was ignorant. They would always say, man, the white folks got their foot on your neck. And what happened to me, I can only tell, I can't tell you about everybody else, but I can tell you what happened to me. When we were younger, we used to go to a judge's house. Okay? A white judge. We used to go play with his kids. We going over their house, spending the night, playing with their kids, and everything. They treated us like they was like, when they ate, we ate. Then we had somebody that kind of like adopted our family who was white. A couple who was white. And they were well off, and they used to take care of us. They used to buy us school clothes, buy us school shoes. It's like, wait a minute now. All the stuff that everybody been saying about white people, it's not true. Because these people over here let us come play with their kids. These people over here, they buying us stuff. And we ain't even got to pay them back. What is going on here? Ignorance is what's going on there. And when I finally got free from that, because in 7th grade, you know what the first thing I used to yell at to my teacher? First thing I used to yell at to my teachers was this right here. Man, you white. You racist. You don't like us anyway. And he'd be like, Larry, you got two choices. You can sit down and do your work, or you can just go home. Man, this teacher is racist, man. No, I was just acting a fool. I was being stupid. I was being dumb. I was being ignorant.
Thanks, Ron, for something that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks, Ron.
You have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I'm going to finish up my story. I'm glad you asked. It goes like this. Okay, I told you about she nailed the guy's head. Caesarea Jael nailed the guy's head in his hair into the ground. Now, killing him. Now, remember I told you from the beginning that they were going to sing songs about her and Deborah, and Barak's not going to get all the glory. So the song goes something like this. I can't really remember it, but it's a song. It's in Judges 4, I think, 5 or 7. You can find it. Just Google it. But it goes something like this. Hooray for Deborah. Hooray for Jael. Not so much Barak. He didn't do that much. But Deborah rules, yeah, and Jael rules, baby. But not so much Barak, not so much Barak. I mean, he did a little bit, but it took nobody but Jael and Deborah to win this thing. So when Deborah said they wouldn't sing about Barak,
as Christians, to be able to use that sorrow to not only benefit our lives and to make us stronger, to be able to share that with others so they in turn also have the ability to be able to overcome it and be an encourager for other people.